All right, so we're taking a look at Learning Target 2.1 and 2.2. So being able to calculate correlational coefficient, we're going to be using the calculator for that. So I'm going to go through and do all those for questions 1 through 10 here. We'll do it on the calculator, and then we'll come back with those in and then talk about what that means in terms of how we interpret it and what we can say about that data. Okay, so let's jump over to the calculator. All right, looking at the calculator now, we are going to go to New Document, right? We're going to add lists and spreadsheets, okay? Now, all of these are going to be called X and Y, so we label them, right? Looking back at that paper. And so then we enter them in, okay? So we get 4, 15, 15, oops, not 155, 36, 67 and 70 for the X values. Then their partner Y values, making sure that we put them all together, right? We get our data. Now, if all we're doing is looking at the correlational coefficient, then we go Menu, Statistics, Stat Calculations, and I can either do 2 variable statistics or a linear regression. I'll start with the 2 variable, then probably use the linear from then on. And we choose the X variable, then the Y variable, right? Go down and look at our column result, make sure it doesn't overlap, hit OK. And then we scroll down. All this data is information that we could use, but the one we need is right here. So the R value is negative 0.29 is what we've got here for this one. So that's the first one, okay? So now we jump to the next one. Okay, a few different ways I can do this. I can hit home and start a new document. Okay, go down to lists and spreadsheets. I can do it that way, or I could just rewrite the data, and the benefit to that is that it just makes things move a lot easier. So now I'm on to question number 2 again, putting in the data. Okay, so I make sure that they match up. Alright, and then I'm going to go Menu, Statistics, number 4, Stat Calculations. Then let's see what happens when we do a linear regression. Okay, so I choose my X, I choose my Y, make sure that in my result column, so it kind of works the same. It's okay, hit OK. See, now this one is for the linear regression. Oops, I hate when it does that. So it shows me what kind of equation. So if I'm looking for that equation of that line of best fit, I've got it right there as well. Okay, but what I'm looking for down here is the R value, right, which we round to the nearest hundredth, so 0.68. Okay, now here's the cool thing. If all I'm doing is changing my data, I actually don't have to do any other work, because as you'll notice, once I change my data here, okay, it actually changes these numbers here too. Okay. As long as and if I have to delete some numbers, I delete some numbers. But there we go, and there's our R value, right? Negative 0.99. Now, if I wanted to, I could also go Control Doc and add data and statistics, and I could graph my X and my Y and see what that graph looks like. But we don't need to worry about that in this case, okay? So that was number 3. Let's take a look at number 4 now. So bigger numbers here. And put in their other values. So this is one benefit of just doing that, is I get those R values pretty quickly, so negative 0.98, right? Okay, and again, add a question number 5, and start putting in my numbers. Okay, match them up, and again, my correlational coefficient is 0.99. Okay, then move on to number 6. These are some pretty big numbers, huh? Go from some small to some very large. Okay, and now it's 0.998. That's basically, 1. You could say 1 or 0.998. Okay. All right. So we move to now number 7. See, now it pops up that, and that's because we don't have any other corresponding numbers right here. It doesn't like that. But if we just put them in, we can easily fix that problem, because we have more numbers in this. Whoops. Did I skip one? 6, 8, 4, 9, 3, 6, 10, 9, 2, 7. So what did we miss here? 0.1, 0.2, 0.4, 0.4, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.6, then 0.7. See, until we get that fixed. And you notice on the right side there it has errors. Okay, but here we go. So negative 0.11. All right. Okay, now number 8. Again, just entering the data in, which isn't super exciting, is it? Okay, get all our information and go back here. We see correlational coefficient of 0.87. All right, now 2 more to go to get that finished. Okay. Oh, that's the problem. I have to hit enter twice, don't I? So 52, 53, 69, then 72, then 90. So we'll start from the bottom here. So correlational coefficient of negative 0.94. And then our last group, number 10. Oop. Should have been 3,000, huh? Making all sorts of mistakes here as I try to go fast. Some more big numbers. can do the correlational coefficient by hand, but it is just so much easier with technology, and we might as well use it. So we get our correlational coefficient negative 0.03. Okay, so there we go with the calculator. So let's jump back and talk about what those mean. All right, so we're back and we now have our correlational coefficients that we found on the calculator. Okay, so now to interpret what they mean, we're basically looking at something positive, negative, strong, or weak, or no correlation. So remember, when we're dealing with negative numbers, okay, it's going from 0 to -1. -1 is like a perfect negative correlation. 0 is no correlation. Kind of that cutoff point is 0.5. So anything that's closer to -1 than -0.5 is going to be strong. If it's less than -0.5, or I guess bigger, technically speaking, but if it's closer to 0, then it's going to be weak. Okay, so this is where something is weak. This is where it's strong. So let's look at all our negatives. So number 1 is -0.29. Okay, that's in this realm here, so it's going to be weak, but it is a negative number, so it's a weak negative. Okay, if I look at number 3, -0.99, that's basically -1, so that's going to be a strong negative, not positive. Okay, just like number 4, -0.98, it's a strong negative. All right, then going to the other side, -0.11, okay, that's really close to 0, so it's going to be a weak negative. And then the last two, -0.94, again close to 1, so strong negative. And -0.03, that's so close to 0, I'd probably call that no correlation. Though if you did choose to do a weak negative, that would be technically right as well. Okay, so looking at 8, let's talk about the positives. So the positives go from 0 to 1, with 0.5 being that cutoff point. So beyond 0.5 is strong, below 0.5 is weak. So 0.87, beyond 0.5, so that's a strong and it's a positive number, so strong positive. Okay, number 2, 0.68, that's barely above 0.5, but it is above 0.5, so again, strong positive. Okay, then down to 5 and 6, they're 0.99, 0.998, definitely both strong positives. Okay, so others that would be a weak positive would be like 0.24 or 0.36 or 0.44. Okay, those would be in the realm of the weak. Okay, all right, but there we go, guys. So should be ready for that now. Remember to use the calculator to find the R, and then you can determine if it's strong or weak and positive or negative based on those numbers.